And he is toast because he is not the kind of candidate that the American people want to become president. The American people are not going to vote for a candidate who insults Mexicans and Latinos. They're not going to vote for a candidate who insults Muslims and women, who insults veterans and African Americans. The American people understand that our strength, our unique strength among all nations of the world, is our diversity. Is the fact that as a nation and California as a state, we have people coming from hundreds of countries all over this world. And that makes us stronger, not weaker. And our goal is to build upon that diversity. Black and white and Latino and Asian American and Native American. Gay and straight, male and female. People born in this country, people who have come into this country. And when we stand together and we don't allow the Trumps of the world to try to divide us up, there is nothing that we cannot accomplish. Now the theme of this campaign is called the political revolution. And guess what? You are the revolutionaries. Now, 2 years ago, there was what we call a midterm election, non-presidential national election. Do you know what percentage of the American people voted? About 33%. 67% of the American people did not vote. 80% of young people did not vote. 75% of low-income working people did not vote. And the Republicans won a landslide victory.
There you go. Bernie Sanders live in Cathedral City at Big League Dreams Sports Park with a very enthusiastic crowd there.
Yeah, a lot of people. We saw that the first person has been there since about 2:30 this morning, so very excited fans of his spent the whole morning there lining up waiting to be there.
Well, hi everybody. Thought that was going to keep running, but apparently not. We're looking for another feed right now. Give me a second, everybody. We had one with ABC. I'm going to try to frame that up and go with it, and we'll see what happens. Apologies. How's everybody doing today? Take a look at Bernie for a second. right, everybody. Hi there. You just saw me. I was the lunatic over on politicalrevolution.tv, ranting and screaming and then trying to deal with all those thoughts and emotions. That's what we do with the newsroom. We thought we had Bernie. That was just a little cut earlier. I'm not sure what's going on with the scheduling. We were pretty certain that this was going to start at noon, right? It hasn't. It's late. Bernie could be talking to an overflow crowd. We could have the time messed up. And News Universe is one of our most reliable sources. They say we're 40 minutes out. Bernie Sanders' speech is an event, doesn't even have a time listed, and we can't find anything reliable in terms of feeds. And that is interesting because we are in California, and I actually thought California would be one of the easier places to find a feed. I'm a little surprised at that. It tells me something's going on, actually. But what we're going to do is we're going to test out this new thing. Since we got a crowd, since you're here already, we're having a good time. I don't even, what am I running here? Yeah, we got the BTV notice. Okay, we're running these through. That's good. I know you need a Bernie fix. So what we're going to do is I'm going to start this. I've got some memes I'm going to run through, and then we're going to get this. Got some music going on here, some Bernie Sanders songs and some radio ads, and we're testing out this new system called Nightbot. And if you're out there, bad, I'm gonna try. And we'll be monitoring for Bernie's live event. And as soon as Bernie's live event starts, we'll kick to it. And if I can get things put together, we can listen to some other clips. I've got some other videos put together, but I gotta do some things. So let's try Nightbot. See how this goes. All right, here, and we'll do this. Oh no, that's not gonna work. We gotta have it with. Hang on. Yeah. All right.
Enough is enough. Wall Street's greed and illegal behavior drove this country into the worst economic downturn since the 1930s. And then, after getting a huge taxpayer bailout because they were too big to fail, it turns out that 3 out of the 4 largest banks are bigger today than they were before we bailed them out. That's crazy. I'm Bernie Sanders. My plan: break up the big banks who are strangling our economy and make them pay their fair share of taxes. Then we can invest in the middle class, expand Social Security, and provide universal college education. I'll rein in Wall Street behavior so they can't crash our economy again. Will they like me? No. Will they begin to play by the rules if I'm president? You better believe it. I'm Bernie Sanders, Democratic candidate for president, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Bernie 2016.
Can freely learn without a big debt in return. And education ain't just for the wealthy. Bernie Sanders, you oppose all the worst.
is enough. Our government, our country belong to all of us and not just a few billionaires.
I know that the middle class of this country is collapsing. I know that the gap between the very, very rich and everybody else is growing wider. The only way we bring about change is when the American people become mobilized.
All right, well, I kind of thought I was going to play the next song there, and it didn't. What you're looking at is the Desert Sun. This was a stream I was trying to get everybody. Give me 1 second here. I got all sorts of stuff going on. That's it should be. This is a I think this is a piece here. I don't know that this is full live because it keeps repeating. See, here we go. It's I'm not seeing the actual live event in this too, man. See, it keeps running. It keeps running this over again. I thought we had it. I don't think this is a full stream, guys. I think this is just a little report on it. That's why I'm not kicking in the audio there. It just keeps running over. But we'll see. I hope it kicks in. I do. And yeah, nothing coming in on these other ones. Oh. Chat says this is live. All right, we'll try it. We'll try it. We'll see what happens, everybody. Did we miss him? Is he is he even worth it? Did we screw this up? Let's see. Hang on. Yep, looks like it. And he's already talking. All right. Give me a second.
This campaign has a message to the billionaires and the large corporations, and that message is, your greed is helping to destroy this country. You no longer are going to get it all. It is absurd that we have multinational corporations making billions of dollars a year in profits, stashing their money in tax havens all over the world, and end up not paying in a given year 5 cents in federal taxes. It is absurd that we got hedge fund managers on Wall Street who pay effective, i.e. real tax rate, lower than many of you do. We are going to tell corporate America that, yes, they will start paying their fair share of tax. In the last 15 years, this country has seen the loss of millions of good-paying jobs because corporate greed has shut down manufacturing plants in America. We've lost tens of thousands of factories, thrown people out on the street, and they go to China or other low-wage countries to produce their products. Together we're going to rebuild the manufacturing sector in this country, and the message is clear to corporate America. If you want the American people to buy your products, you damn well better start manufacturing them here in this country, not in China. You know, it's unbelievable. I mean, what we're talking about is greed that is literally unparalleled in the history of this country. I was in Indiana last month. 2 plants are being shut down by a company called United Technologies. A few years ago, this company had $171 million to pay a severance package to its CEO. They gave him $171 million when he left, and yet they don't have enough money to keep factories in Indiana and 2,000 workers on the job. That is not acceptable. Over in Anaheim, I was in Anaheim the other day. You got Disney there. Well, Disney pays its workers wages that are very hard for their workers to live on, but somehow has enough money to pay $42 million to its CEO. And by the way, Disney prefers to manufacture its toys and its T-shirts and everything else in China rather than in the United States. So our message is, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, come home! This campaign is not just about ending a corrupt campaign finance system in which billionaires buy elections. It is not just turning around a rigged economy in which the very rich get richer and almost everybody else gets poorer. It is also about dealing with the national disgrace of a broken criminal justice system. I was a mayor of Burlington, Vermont for 8 years. And in that capacity, I dealt with our local police department, a great department. And I work with police officers all over this country. And let me be clear, the average police officer in America is honest, is hardworking, and has a very, very difficult job. Not easy being a cop today. But like any other public official, if a police officer breaks the law, that officer must be held accountable. And when we talk about criminal justice reform, we're also talking about reforming local police departments. And that means we have got to demilitarize local police departments. Police departments should be part of the community, not be seen as an oppressive force in the community. We have got to make local police departments reflect the diversity of the communities they serve. We have got to end private corporate ownership of prisons and detention centers. People, corporations should not be making money by locking up more and more people. We have got to create a national law enforcement culture which says that lethal force, shooting somebody, is the last response, not the first response. We have got to rethink the so-called war on drugs. Now, it turns out that over the last 30 years, millions of Americans have received criminal records for possession of marijuana. It turns out that studies indicate that blacks and whites do marijuana at about equal rates, but this is a racial issue because blacks are 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana than whites. Turns out that rather in a crazy way, right now the Federal Controlled Substance Act lists marijuana as a Schedule I drug, the highest level, right next to heroin. Now, all of you know that people argue about the pluses and minuses of marijuana, but nobody argues that heroin is a killer drug. They are not equal. Now, all of you know that the question of legalizing marijuana is not a federal issue, it is a state issue. At the federal level, I intend to take marijuana out of the federal control. But the decision to legalize marijuana is a state issue. 4 states, Washington, D.C., have voted to legalize marijuana. That issue actually will be on the ballot here in California in November. I think weighing the pros and the cons. My own view is if I were a resident of California, I would vote to legalize marijuana. But when we talk about drugs, let me just say this. Everybody here knows or should know that we have a major epidemic in this country of opiate addiction and heroin addiction. This is impacting my state. It is impacting the entire country. And what that means is that today and yesterday and tomorrow, people are dying from overdoses of heroin and opiates. This is a crisis that we must address. In my view, the most effective way, the most sensible way to address this crisis is to understand that substance abuse, whether it is drugs or alcohol, should be seen as a health issue, not a criminal issue. And that means we need a revolution in mental health treatment in this country. It means that when we have hundreds of thousands of people addicted to one drug or another in this country, we have got to provide mental health treatment to those people when they need it, not 6 months from now. And I'll tell you something else, which is not a pleasant thought, but it's true, that right now in this country, we have thousands of people walking the streets of America who are suicidal and in some cases homicidal. We need to understand that just like a physical crisis, somebody gets into an automobile accident, they go to an emergency room. Right now, if you have a mental health crisis, if you are on the edge, if you're suicidal, God forbid if you're homicidal, we need to get those people the help they need now, not 6 months from now. This campaign is going to win because we are addressing the real issues facing the American people. This campaign is listening to young people. Look, here is the truth, and everybody knows it's the truth. We live in a very competitive global economy. We need the best educated workforce in the world if our economy is to do well. And that means, this is not hard to understand, what common sense dictates is that every American, young people, middle-aged people, the economy changes, people should be able to get all the education that they need so they can get the good jobs that are out there. Here is the truth. 50 years ago, you had a high school degree, the odds are that you were able to go out and get a pretty good job and make it into the middle class. By and large, those days are gone. The economy has changed, technology has changed, education has changed. Today, people need more education to keep up with the changing economy. And that is why I believe that in the year 2016, when we talk about public education, it can no longer just be first grade through 12th grade. We've got to make public colleges and universities tuition free. Now, let me ask you an honest question. Does anybody here think that that is a radical idea? It is not a radical idea. It's a common sense idea. The economy changes. Our educational system has got to change with a changing economy. Absolutely. Right now, if you go to Germany, if you go to Scandinavia, do you know how much it costs to go to college in those countries? Zero. And those governments aren't dumb. What they understand is that investing in their young people is investing in the future of their economies and their country. And here is something else that a lot of people don't talk about. 40, 50 years ago here in California, your great public university system, do you know how much it cost tuition-wise to go to the University of California? It cost virtually nothing. So we have got to ask ourselves a rather simple question. How does it happen that 40, 50 years ago, people could go to the University of California virtually tuition-free, but not today? If we could do it 50 years ago, we sure as heck can do it today. I want you all to know what it means if we have tuition-free public colleges and universities. It says to kids in Burlington, Vermont, or in Cathedral City, kids like myself who grew up not with a lot of money, parents didn't go to college. You got kids out there who never for 1 second think that they're going to be able to go to college because they're just too poor. We are telling every child in California today, and every child in America, that if you study hard, you take school seriously, you do well in school, yes, you will be able to get a college education regardless of the income of your family. And that is what America is supposed to be about. How many people here right now are dealing with student debt? I've been all over this country and the response is always the same. We got millions of people dealing with student debt. You go to medical school, I've talked to doctors now, $300,000 in debt. Talk to dentists graduating dental school, $400,000. We should not be punishing people for doing the right thing and getting an education. And that is why I believe that anybody who has student debt today, and some of those folks are paying interest rates of 6, 8, 10%, I believe that those people should be able to refinance their loans at the lowest interest rates they can find. Now, people say to me, they say, Bernie, you know, you're Santa Claus. You're a nice guy. You're giving away all of these things. You're giving away free tuition at public colleges. You get a substantially lower student debt. How are you going to pay for it? Well, let me tell you exactly how we're going to pay for it. You know, it's always a funny thing that when you fight for working families and you fight for low-income families, suddenly it's just so expensive we can't afford it. But when you go to war in Iraq, no problem, we got trillions of dollars. Donald Trump wants to give hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the top 0.2%. Not a problem. But I'll tell you how we're going to pay for free tuition in public colleges. And that is we're going to impose a tax on Wall Street speculation. Now here's something that's a little bit scary, but it's true and it's important to know this. It's not just that Wall Street's greed and recklessness and illegal behavior drove this country into the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. That's true. But it is also that Wall Street, the most powerful political and economic entity in America, their business model, their basic business model is based on fraud. That's what it is. Some of you may know that Goldman Sachs, 5 or 6 weeks ago, they reached a settlement with the United States government for $5 billion. And they reached that settlement because they acknowledged that the subprime mortgage packages they were selling were worthless, and they were ripping off the American people. I believe that today we should impose a tax on Wall Street speculation that will bring in more than enough money to provide free tuition and substantially lower student debt. This campaign is listening to the Latino community. And the Latino community points out that we have 11 million undocumented people today, that many of those people who are at work right now are being exploited. Because when you don't have legal rights, your employer can cheat you, can pay you below the minimum wage, cannot give you the benefits that you are entitled to, and you cannot fight back. That is why I believe that we need comprehensive immigration reform in this country and a path towards citizenship. Our immigration policy should be to unite families, not divide families. And if Congress does not do its job and pass immigration reform legislation, I will use the executive powers of the presidency to do what I can. Too many people in this country are living in fear. We've got to end the current deportation policies. This campaign is listening to the African American community. They are asking me why it is that throughout this country, inner cities of America are crumbling, unemployment rates outrageously high. There are communities in America where there are no grocery stores, there are no bank branches, there is no access to decent health care. We are going to change our national priorities. Instead of rebuilding communities in Afghanistan, we're going to rebuild communities in inner cities in this country. This campaign is listening to the Native American community. Everybody here knows that the Native American community has been lied to, has been cheated from the first day, from before this country became a country. And yet our culture, who we are as a people, owes the Native American people a debt that can never fully be repaid. They have taught us so much. Among other things, they have taught us a profound, profound lesson that we must learn. And that is, as human beings, we are part of nature. We must live with nature. And then if we continue to destroy nature, we are destroying the human species. We are destroying ourselves. And that takes me to the issue of clean water in America. In our country and all over the world, there is a growing crisis with regard to clean drinking water, and that is why I believe we have got to end fracking. Now, that is not the position of my Democratic opponent, Secretary Clinton. But on that issue, we are right, she is wrong. We got to end fracking. I am a member of the U.S. Senate Committee on the Environment. And I will tell you what every person here knows, because you have eyes to see. And that is that anyone who tells you that climate change is not real is lying to you. It is beyond my belief, and I really say this, I have strong disagreements with Republicans. I'm probably the most progressive member of the Senate. I have disagreements. But when you have Republican candidates like Trump and virtually all the rest get up and say climate change is a hoax, what world are they living in? The idea that they will reject what almost every scientist who studies this issue all over the world is saying is beyond comprehension and incredibly dangerous. The truth is A, climate change is, of course, real. Our planet is getting warmer every day. B, the evidence is overwhelming. Climate change is caused by human activity. And C, as you well know here in California, climate change is already causing major problems in the United States and, in fact, all over the world. That's the fact. And it saddens me that the Republican Party, with very few exceptions, is so beholden to the fossil fuel industry that they don't have the guts to acknowledge reality. But we acknowledge reality, and we know that we have a moral responsibility to leave this planet in a way that is healthy and habitable for our children and our grandchildren. We will take on the fossil fuel industry. And we will transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to sustainable energy, wind, solar, geothermal, and energy efficiency. When as human beings, we think about what the needs are of people. We all need to eat well. We all need to breathe clean air. We all need a roof over our heads. But you know what else we all need? Whether we're rich, whether we're poor, whether we're young, whether we're old, we need access to quality health care. Now, television doesn't discuss this very much, but every other major country on earth guarantees health care to all people as a right, and that's what we have got to do here in the United States. How many people here have no health insurance? Wow, okay. All right, and you all know what that means when you walk around without any health insurance. That you can't go to a doctor when you're sick, that if you get into an accident, you're going to go deeply into debt. How many people here have insurance but are paying high deductibles and high co-payments? And that means if you don't have any money, even if you have insurance, you're not going to go to the doctor when you're sick because you can't afford the co-payment or the deductibles, all right? Well, I think it is time to end all of that stuff. I think it is time for the United States to guarantee health care to all people as a right. And that is why we are going to pass a Medicare for all health care system. It is absurd that 29 million Americans have no health insurance. Many of you are underinsured, and every one of us is getting ripped off by the unconscionable greed of the pharmaceutical industry. They spend billions of dollars on lobbying and campaign contributions to make sure that our people pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. Our message to them is whether they like it or not, that greed is going to stop. People in this country should have access to the medicine they need when they need it. People should not be dying or getting sick because they can't afford the medicine they require. And by the way, there is going to be a ballot item in November here on the California ballot, which calls on the state of California to control the cost of prescription drugs, and it's a great idea. I would urge you to support it. And the pharmaceutical industry will spend tens of millions of dollars on TV ads. Do not believe them. The top 5 drug companies last year made $50 billion in profit, while 1 out of 5 Americans could not afford to fill their prescriptions. Everybody here knows that real change always takes place from the bottom on up, never from the top on down. That is the history of the workers' movement and the creation of trade unions. It is the history of the civil rights movement and the fight against slavery and racism and bigotry. It is the history of the women's movement. 100 years ago, people don't know this, they forget it. 100 years ago, not a long time ago, women in America did not have the right to vote, did not have the right to get the education or the jobs they wanted. 100 years ago, women were told that their function in life was to stay home and have babies. But women stood up and fought back. And women said that in America they will not be second-class citizens. And that's how change takes place. And change takes place when people in the gay community, with their straight allies, they said that in America we're going to end discrimination against the LGBT community. And I want you all to know, what I think most of you do, is that that fight for gay rights was a very difficult fight because gay community and their straight allies were taking on an incredible level of ignorance and bigotry and homophobia. But the gay community stood up, and what they said is that in the United States, people should have the right to love whoever they want, regardless of gender. And today, as a result of that struggle, gay marriage is legal in every state in America. Brothers and sisters, we are at a pivotal moment in American history. And the danger that we face is both our economy and our political system is becoming more and more oligarchic. Our politics are controlled by a handful of billionaires who spend unlimited sums of money trying to buy elections. Our economy is controlled by a small number of multinational corporations who could care less about the average worker, and their greed has done incalculable harm to the middle class of this country. What this campaign is about is asking people to stand up to the status quo and to think outside of the box. What this campaign is about, and I am seeing it from coast to coast, people are looking around them and saying, why is it I am working longer hours for low wages? Why is it that my pension is being threatened? Why is it that I'm forced to work for $9 an hour and almost all new income and wealth is going to the 1%? People are asking, how does it happen that for 30 years the middle class of this country has been shrinking while the very rich become richer? People are asking, why is it that kids are leaving college $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in debt? People are asking, how does it happen that in this great country we are the only major nation on earth not to guarantee paid family and medical leave? Why are we the only country not to guarantee health care to all people? Why is it that our infrastructure is crumbling and we got millions of people who have no jobs? Why is it that corporations in a given year make billions and don't pay a nickel in taxes? People are looking out all over this country and they are saying, enough is enough. People are beginning to stand up and fight back and demand that we have a government that represents all of us, not just wealthy campaign contributors. On June 7th, there is going to be a very, very important Democratic primary here in California. 475 delegates are at stake. If we have a large voter turnout, we are going to win the California primary. I hope that on June 7th, you'll bring out your family, you'll bring out your friends, your co-workers, and let this great state, one of the most progressive states in America, tell the world you are ready for the political revolution. Thank you.
All right, that's Bernie Sanders. Most of that rally. Sorry, guys, we didn't catch it from the very beginning. There's the crowd. You want to see the crowd? There we go. That's a crowd. All right, cut it on us. Oh, no, they went back. Oh, look, still more crowd. There you go. That was awesome. That's the first time I've actually just straight out grabbed a national feed like that, and that worked out pretty well. I know that's what most of our guys like News Universe and everybody does anyway. I try not to risk the nationals because I when we started this in the beginning, we were getting shut down for everything we grabbed. Didn't matter what I did to it. Didn't matter what I did. So that was new. Sorry for not catching that at the beginning. Liam actually had a good line on that, but then they just cut away and started talking local stuff, and this is just what we have to go through to bring. This is, well, you guys know, this is what we have to go through. Anyway, that was Bernie. That was great. We've got a lot of states to go. We've got California to go, and if you haven't heard, don't know the news, Hillary Clinton. The big news right now is that the State Department has said that Hillary Clinton did not do right. She was wrong. It's trending right now. You should really get the information. And if you can hang out, I'd like to just play a little bit of it for the record, because this is important. This is big news here. So we read this on we talked about this on the newsroom earlier today. And for those of you that just came by to watch the rally, Hillary Clinton and top aides did not comply on records policy. I'm just going to let the Hill tell us what's going on here.
Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and her senior aides did not comply with the State Department's record-keeping policies, an internal watchdog determined in a report sent to Capitol Hill on Wednesday. Through the exclusive use of her personal email account routed through a private server, Clinton circumvented policies designed to follow federal records laws and may have jeopardized official secrets. Clinton never requested permission to use the personal server, which was located at her New York home, and it, quote, would not have been approved, in part because of the, quote, security risks in doing so.
My personal emails are my personal business, right?
But
so that's all I can say.
Did you try to wipe the whole server? You didn't answer the question.
I'm not, I have no idea. That's why we turned it over.
You said you were in charge of it. You were the official in charge. Did you wipe the server?
What, like with a cloth or something?
I don't know. You know how it works digitally. Did you try to wipe the whole server?
I don't know how it works digitally at all.
So a bit of a human moment there from Secretary Clinton saying she wiped the cloth digitally, but real questions about this, and the FBI and the Department of Justice will actually answer these questions. They are looking at that private email server right now. So the big takeaway from this, the new poll, Chris and Allison, is she's driving the race, no question, but still so many people wondering about this email server.
So many people still wondering, and well, now we know the truth, right? Where is my little piece here? Not that one. There's one other. There's Hillary talking. I had so many good things for you. Where's the other one? there's a clip with her and Jake where they're talking about this too, and just know, everybody, that at this point, what's happened, the real deal here is that the State Department has delivered evidence to the Justice Department, or for the Justice Department. So if the Justice Department is going to do its job, they'll take the evidence that the State Department has provided, the fact that Hillary Clinton had violated State Department rules regarding security and did not get permission from the State Department to do what she did. And she said she did, and she said everybody else does it, and that's not the truth at all. So now, with all this evidence that we have, and with the statement from the State Department on this, the watchdog group, they hand this over to the Justice Department, who should, if they actually are the Justice Department, indict her. We see. Either way, if they don't, the Republican Party has this to use. And if she somehow, for some reason, manages to get elected after all of this, they can immediately impeach her. So, it leaves things in a very interesting place. Not good for State Department is a civil case, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I don't know all the details. Yeah, let me you guys. What's interesting is what they say about in the full report here. Here, let's just read let's read the full language. Okay. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and her senior aides did not comply with the State Department's record-keeping policies, an internal watchdog determined in a report. By exclusively using a personal email address routed through a private server, Clinton circumvented policies designed to follow federal records laws and might have jeopardized official secrets, Department's Office of Inspector General said in a report obtained by The Hill. Clinton never requested permission to use the personal server, which was located at her New York home, and it would not have been approved, in part because of the security risks in doing so. Additionally, Clinton never demonstrated to the State Department security officials that her personal server or BlackBerry device met minimum information security requirements. I don't know how many violations you need before you're deemed not viable for a candidate. You do these things, you're not eligible. If this were Bernie Sanders at this point, would he be in the race? If this were Bernie Sanders at this point, would the indictment have already landed on the desk? If this were any other candidate in the race, what would be happening right now? Mainstream media certainly wouldn't be calling it, well, unusual. So I don't know how much longer the Democratic Party can continue to prop up a candidate who's not even viable anymore, because she will be indicted or should be indicted if we actually have what's called a Justice Department in the United States of America. That is yet to be seen. When you have a department called ICE that deports children who are about to graduate, and the head of that department doesn't even know her head from her ass, it makes you wonder if we have a Justice Department. I don't know about that. I don't know. But Snowden is a hero. Absolutely. She absolutely is a hero. Yeah. DNC denial is very ugly. I agree. We're running this on. Do I have a tune to go out with? I don't have a tune to go out with. I don't care. We're going to go out with this great Bernie ad, the new ad that's been going around, because it's kind. It's wonderful.
The change you want to see in the world.
Damn, that was loud. I hope I didn't blow out everybody's eardrums, because that was not supposed to happen, and YouTube just gave me a whole big mess. Tell them in chat, Jesse, it's going to be really loud really quick. It's going to happen in about 20... There's a delay. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. We're going to go out with Be the Change You Want to See, which is Bernie Sanders. Anyway, you guys were asking about whether I'm going to do a rally later. I can't. I'm sorry. That's why we're doing this earlier one. We've got meetings to grow this organization. We've got things to do. You guys are going to have ears to fix anyway. I probably won't be able to hear the rally later. So we're tomorrow. And then I know Bernie's kicked it up a notch with what he's doing every day, and maybe we're going to have to find a way to kick it up a notch too, because I want to give him as much coverage as possible. Problem is, it's becoming more and more difficult to find streams because establishment media is doing everything they can to stop us from seeing him again. It's like there's like a last-ditch effort to prevent us from finding truth. I don't really know what it is. It's ridiculous. But thank you guys. Thank you all. Oh, the towel. It's Towel Day, everybody. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's National Wine Day. It's Towel Day, and it's the day evidence was delivered to the Justice Department by the State Department on Hillary's forthcoming indictment. Towel Day. Douglas Adams. Hitchhiker's Guide. Come on. You're going to need a towel. Democracy is not neat and pretty and clean. It's messy. We're all going to need a towel for this convention. That's for sure. That's for sure. So be the change you want to see. Because it's up to us to make it happen. Feel the burn, everybody.
Be the change you want to see in the world. He voted against the Defense of Marriage Act.
He's an original sponsor of the Equality Act.
He's the only candidate that truly sees all humans as equal.
And when it wasn't popular,
he stood up to Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
What I most love about Bernie is that he's always been involved in community action.
He didn't care if people called him radical for doing the right thing.
I've heard him defend us and stand up for us. Just the first time that I felt included as a human.
I really appreciate Bernie's commitment and authenticity over time.
You said something about homos in the military. Was the gentleman referring to the many thousands and thousands of gay people who have put their lives on the line in countless wars? You have insulted thousands.
He's been an ally for over 3 decades.
Sé el cambio que quieres ver en nuestro mundo.
Be the change you wish to see.
Be the change before you see the change.
Bernie Sanders is my voice. He's fought for me, and now it's my time to fight for him.
Be on the right side of history.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to support this man who's been fighting for us for his entire career. And Bernie, you're no longer walking alone.
Real change never, ever takes place from the top on down. It always takes place from the bottom on up.
Huge